Hello and welcome back to the Realty Funnels podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Cahill, and I'm so excited to welcome with me today to the podcast, Syed Mohsen. And he is a top influencer in the real estate brokerage space. He's a real estate agent in Michigan. He's with EXP Realty, and I think most impressively, he has an amazing community of powerful, success-driven real estate agents, the Boss Agent Academy. And so I'm excited to welcome him. Syed, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's great to reconnect with you. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you are, what you do, and how long you've been at it.
For sure, for sure. I'm here in Michigan. Obviously, unfortunately, the weather is kind of cold today out there. But yeah, I've been in business 13 years now, probably over 13 years. I'm a real estate broker here in Michigan. I run a small team here in Michigan. I'm actually in the process of growing out of Michigan and going different places right now. Yeah, I've been in business 13 years. Was in production personally up until December of 2020. Then decided to start a team, and here I am.
Well, you've been at this a long time, and I know that you and I share a real love of technology, systems, ways that we can use tools to lighten our load so that we can focus more on providing real value to our clients. Talk a little bit about that. What's your journey been like getting into the technology side of real estate?
Yeah, for sure. I guess like for me, and I love talking about this piece, the journey I had to go through to get, I guess, like where I am and what everything we do. For me, it wasn't intentional for sure. I didn't see myself first getting into real estate like, hey, one day I'm gonna be helping people, with technology. And it's one of the pieces. It was actually a struggle for me when I first got into this business. There's so much out there. There's so much noise. Everyone's trying to get into your pocket when it comes to CRM systems and solutions that are available out there. It's just unlimited. It feels like if there is one thing God promised us, it was like technology options. you know when it wasn't commission for sure. So yeah, so I mean, I had to go through that journey myself. I Up until I would say 2016 in my business, I was just following, traditional advice, like, just sales is a numbers game. Just put yourself out there. You got to do the thing, do open houses, door knock, collect names and numbers off your family members and neighbors and call them, email them, friend them on Facebook, stalk them, until they either go away or give you a referral, right? Or they die, right? But like I got to a point in my business, or at least in my life experience, is that I had to take it seriously. And for me, when I looked at where the industry, not just the industry, where everything was going, where the economy was going, it was very clear to me that everything's going digital. And I mean, up until 2020, it wasn't very clear, but now it's very clear, right? I'm not sure if there are people out there still living that delusional lifestyle where there's like, I could still get by without like embracing technology or adapting to all these changes that are coming. They have a rude awakening coming, like, because it's very clear now, especially with COVID. I think it was very clear that it is possible to run a business in a way where the traditional ways could be obsolete and it wouldn't change anything. So yeah, I had to figure out some stuff. Like, obviously, try to figure it out myself, watch all the free trainings out there, right? First. Like, and then you get to a point with information is that you start to realize information is not the problem. There's plenty of it out there. And I realized that I had enough information. I didn't have implementation. So I'm like, okay, who can help me do that? Right. So Russell Brunson, I would say, would be the person. I was with Russell Brunson for 2 years. Learned about all types of funnels. Obviously, first of all, he's a funnel guy. But more importantly, like understanding sales psychology through marketing, right? That's, I think, more important than tech itself, right? If you could figure out, to me, it's like if you could figure out marketing psychology, at least where I am right now, after going through that whole journey, what I learned is that if you could master the marketing psychology, what gets a stranger to become a client, right? First of all, there are phases they have to go through themselves in their journey to getting to know you and building that trust. Once you master that, you don't honestly, the technology becomes like secondary. A person that has that piece mastered, they, even if they didn't have technology, I think they could get by, especially with everything that's happening, all the changes that are coming. So yeah, once I figured it out myself, I got to a point in my business. I had more business than I could handle, and it was. I clearly remember it was November of 2020. I caught COVID. I thought I was dying with everything that was going on back then, right? Like you catch COVID, you're especially the first time, you're like freaking out. I was stuck in my basement for 3 weeks while having 30 active listings, while having like I don't know how many buyers I was working with at the time, who needed to go see a house, and I was like, how do I do this? And I still remember the prayer I made. I was like, God, I wish I could just be here and still run a business. Like that was my prayer. And back then I was not virtual. I was like out and about like everyone else. I refer 16 buyers to different agents in the brokerage I was with at the time. At the end of, by the time I recovered out of COVID, end of 3 weeks, I had closed 6 deals. And for me, that was just magic. I was like, my prayers are is answered. I could do this, right? And that's when I realized like maybe I'm overdue to run a team. Like I should have launched a team long time ago. I closed 89 houses by myself in 2020 in the COVID year, where 3 months we were, banned from showing houses, right?
Right.
So for me, it was like a clear sign on the wall that grow or die, because when I did my math at the end of 2020, I saw I lost out on 20 opportunities because I didn't have the time. It wasn't because the client didn't trust me. It wasn't because any other reason, but like I didn't put the offer in the right time. I didn't show the house at the right time. I was just too busy. I'm like, okay, the only way out of that is not getting more clients, or I can't put more hours in. I was sleeping 3.5 hours a day, 7 days a week, working 20 hours every single day. So it's like, okay, how do I solve this cap? Then hired a coach, Bradley Pounds, Chris Waters out of
Mhm.
Texas. They, obviously I already had the system they were teaching when it comes to $1 million real estate team. Those of you who didn't read the book. I'm like, okay, I got all this down. I just need the hand holding in launching this team. So I didn't want to go through the trial and error most team leaders do. And my number one goal was I want to get out of production, because I felt what it was like to be able to close 6 deals without having to deal with the clients. I'm like, I want to accomplish that. Like, that's my number one goal. Recruited 17 agents in the first 3 months of launching the team, got out of production after the first 3 months. In the process, built an academy to train my agents. I want to be able to, I hated, my wife actually has me on recording that I would never do a team, never do a brokerage, and I would never train agents. This was quite some time back, when I was in production. And because I didn't want to, for me, it's like, at the time, I couldn't match the same energy of most of the agents in the industry who expect to solve the problems they have, the problems in lack of knowledge, the problems in lack of skills, and the problems in lack of implementation, right? So if you gotta bridge that gap, you have to show up with a certain amount of energy to be able to bridge it, right? Otherwise, you're gonna be working for someone else. That's just how it is, right? And if you're just delusional that I'll be fine, it's just not gonna work out. And eventually you get depressed and you quit. So
Yeah, you
so I,
burn
I
out.
I wanted to go ahead.
You burn out.
Yeah, that's how, that's the formula. I actually have a formula. I found the formula of failing in real estate or in life altogether. I guess, like, if you know Tony Robbins, you probably know the formula too,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
for me, it was like, I don't want to handhold agents. So through Bradley was like, hey, just create an automated system, semi-automated at the time, to be able to onboard your agents and train them on your methodology. And I did. And we sold 118 homes that first year as a brand new team. And I didn't have to sell a single home. For me, it was a super big accomplishment. I was like,
Absolutely.
this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Like, I found my thing, and then I started getting agents that brokerage I was with at the time. I was the 20th agent to join them. They were like a small mom and pop brokerage, and I helped them grow from 20 agents to 200 agents. Like everything that I was doing was basically creating attraction from other brokerage for agents. Agents were thinking, oh, it's a brokerage, but it was everything that I was doing, right? So eventually agents started reaching out to me like, how are you taking brand new agents to sell 12 houses in the first year and make $100,000 in their first year? So I'm like, okay, I'll share with you, but like there has to be something in it for me. Join my team. And not everyone wants to join a team. So that's when I came to realization. And I was already in Russell Brunson's community. So I already seen people do the whole digital marketing and digital product thing, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll launch a simple offer teaching people how to generate their own leads. And that was where this journey started. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you for encapsulating it so fully. I agree. One of the only good things that came out of 2020 and that COVID was this realization that more work can be done in a virtual online way while still exceeding expectations for clients, delivering excellent service, getting the job done properly. It doesn't necessarily require the manual grunt labor that many real estate agents were trained is required in order for them to have success. You prove that it's just no longer the case.
For sure. And it's not just about capacity. Some people think like if I was able, I will, right? It's not about ability anymore. It's also about willingness, right? For the longest period of time in my business, it was always about selling 100 houses a year. That was like the goal I had, right? And came the peak of my career to like 89 houses. I didn't hit 100, right? But I had to ask myself, why 100? Like, what are you chasing, right? And by then, I had sold 1,000 houses, right? For me, it was just like, hey, I have to have and I was around that time, I was getting into Tony Robbins mastery program. So, date with destiny, life mastery, business mastery, right? So for me, like all of the messaging that was coming to me was just that I have to have a drive, I have to have a calling. And what is that, right? And for me, yes, real estate is still my passion, right? I love, what real estate can do for a family. Well, it could change generations, especially when I'm in Detroit market, right? So I started selling $10,000 houses. That's where I started, and even though those houses don't cost that much, I have seen clients that have nothing, like literally nothing, right? They're on government programs to be able to just survive, right? For them to become homeowner, it was just like it was a life-changing thing. So when you experience that, you can let go of that. So my thing was, I want to do it at a mass scale, right? How can I do it more, right? And then once I hit 1,000, I had to ask myself, okay, sure, I don't have to sell 100 houses a year, but what's next? Is it another 1,000, right? Is it 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000? What about a million? And when that came to my mind, million would be nice. Like I would die with the written million homeowners served on my on my grave. I love that. Like put that on my grave. So I'm like, okay, how do I get to million? And the answer was help 1,000 agents help 1,000 people, right?
Yes, right.
And that's how you hit million, right? So it's not about ability anymore, it's about willingness. If you are willing, capacity is there, right? But problem with most agents is that they're not willing.
Well,
They have
you
all
were
the
actually you asked the question, what would it take? What would be a meaningful goal? What would make a difference? What would make me feel like I've accomplished something? I know that many people, regardless of whether they're in real estate or any other business, they don't necessarily even ask that question, but you went ahead and asked that question and then worked backward to find the answer.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
This is just exciting stuff. Talk a little bit more about how you have adopted the technology. I know that you and I were both in the Russell Brunson ClickFunnels world Then you and I both discovered High Level, which is another powerful software system. I built Realty Funnels on it. You have your Boss Agents community built on that. Talk about what you see as the real leverage point or that fulcrum that is the technology.
For sure. I would say, I guess, like before we go to tech, people need to understand why, right? Uh,
Mm.
for me, like my first 2 years in my real estate business, no guidance. I mean, yeah, we can call it guidance, like, oh, Keller Williams Ignite and the what did they call it? Whatever they
Bold,
call
yes.
it, bold, yeah. And
Mhm.
and after that, like just people making you I call it Gen 1 false promises, like people fall for. This is like generation 1, which is like the traditional false promises, like, oh, we give you brand, and then you go like, oh, they just slap their logo on your face and they call it a brand. And then we give you support, and it's just like generic training in a module that you're like, oh, okay, how is that support? Or you would always have a broker in your corner, and then you can't get a hold of them when you actually need them, right? And then you got the Gen 2 false promises, which is like, we give you leads, right? And then it's like a bunch of like people that don't want to talk to you, you get rejected, right? All this stuff like dealt with. Like I was driving Uber to be able to pay bills my first 2 years, until
Mm.
I decided third year I was like, it's all in or nothing. Like I'm gonna go bankrupt or I'm gonna figure it out. Eventually figured out, okay, if you're introvert, I'm introverted. I don't want to get rejected by people. I don't want to cold call strangers and all hours of the day, and beg for business from a person that doesn't even want to give me business, right? So for me, it was like, okay, what is the shortest cut to get a stranger to work with me? I didn't have a big sphere of influence. I came to this country in 2006, barely spoke English, dropped out of engineering school. So people that I did know don't want to trust me. In our ethnicity, South Asian, you are nobody if you drop out of college. Like
Mm.
you're like the scum of the earth, right? Like who is gonna trust you? And it's a limiting belief, but I think I could have done better if with the knowledge and experience and skill that I have now. If I were to go back, I would actually go to sphere of influence first. Anyway, long story short, I started getting Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads,
Mhm.
and sold 35 houses that year, third year in business. And I'm like, okay, the strangers online can become clients. This is possibility. So I started buying my own leads. At the time, I was getting leads from a brokerage I joined. It was they no training. I had to hire my own coach, paying them $1,500 a month to figure out how to talk to these leads and convert them, right? So a lot of agents out there, if you're buying leads and you're feeling like leads are crap, no, your follow up is crap. No, like offense. Like you just need to know how to have conversations with people.
Correct.
I was converting Zillow leads at 25%. I know of agents that are like spending money on Zillow and thinking like, oh, it doesn't work. No, you 1 out of 4 of those leads could be a deal in the next 90 days if you know how to talk to them, right? So started buying my own leads. Fast forward 2017, I would say early 2018, Zillow launches Flex in Michigan. Before that, I kept hearing about Flex. I'm like, it doesn't affect my business. Zillow, here, take more of my money. I was spending $15,000 a month on Zillow and Realtor.com, between Zillow and Realtor.com. And I got results, right? I probably closed over, I don't know, 450, 500 deals on Zillow Realtor.com leads. But when they launched Flex, what a lot of people don't know, and I don't know, I could get Zillow can sue me for saying this, but premier agents are getting scammed by Zillow. How premier agents are spending their money every single month to get leads, and Zillow gives them 30 to 90 days to convert those leads to clients and close deals. And if they don't, they get recycled to Flex partners. So all the Flex partners, they might be proud that, oh, we get free Zillow leads, right? It's even though they pay 35, 40% of their commission on the back end when they close, right? But it's all someone else's money. Someone put their hard-earned money into buying these leads that Zillow turned around and gave it to you and collecting 40% on that, right? So for me, it was just like an ethical problem.
Mm.
Sure, it was my money. I had a leak in my bucket. I was working harder than ever. 2018, like I had to double my hours. And my son was born in 2019, early 2019. I was barely spending an hour with my son, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is not gonna work. I need to find, and I was making money. I was making 300 at the time, $300,000 a year. for a lot of real estate agents, they can't even fathom that's possible. And for me, it was the definition of success. Like, that's probably people in 3 generations in my family didn't make that type of money in a year, right? Or maybe in their whole lifetime, right? That we
Right.
find.
Right.
But like for me, it was just like, but for at that point, I was like, if this is the definition of success, it is dark, right? Like it's like there is no hope, So I'm like, okay, there has to be a better way. How is Zillow generating leads? Let's first learn that. Like, okay, so they're doing PPC, they're doing Facebook, Instagram ads, and they're doing retargeting and reactivation. That's the name of the game for Zillow. But you can't possibly beat them in that game because they have $1 billion into that marketing engine.
Correct.
With your $1,000 a month is not going to even scratch the surface, right? I was like, okay, there has to be another way. So this is when I joined Russell Brunson. I mean, it's pretty expensive, $25,000 a year. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, if I spend $25,000 in the year, and it actually, and if you know Russell, you know Russell, right? He's genuine. He gives, right. He teaches you. He shows you the path, and he makes it possible to hand over $25,000 to him. So I'm like, okay, if he could get me to pay him $2,500 a month, I think I could get people to just sign a contract, right? Like, no,
Yes.
my clients don't need to give me that much money, so I need to learn this skill, right? So that's where it all started, and then learn how to get clients through different types of funnels, right? Like guide funnels, the VSL funnels, the application funnels, the retargeting campaigns, the reactivation campaigns, and then was able to completely walk away from Zillow early 2019. And then built our systems around like that, right? So basically be VSL funnels, to lack of I guess people don't know, video sales letters. And we turned my business around and built my whole business on that system. And 2020 had my best year ever, right? And then
Nice.
launched my team. And then once I launched my team, that's when I realized how behind the industry was, right? Like, so I
Right.
started teaching my agents, like, hey, and when I was launching my team, this is I guess like a team hack, is that when you hire team members in your team, you show them the exit first, right? Like, hey, my goal is within the next 2 years, you get out of this team by becoming independent. Like everything I will teach you will make you an independent agent. And 2 years later, if you decide that you want to leave the team, the door's open right now, right? Like I actually want you to be independent. But in the process, though, right? That's a bold promise, right? So to process of making them independent, I realized a lot of agents don't want to learn it. There are agents want to learn it but don't have the skills to be able to, right? And then there are agents don't even have the standard and accountability to pull it off, right? And at the time, we were Follow Up Boss for CRM, Wilopo for AI and website, ClickFunnels for funnels, Calendly for calendar, MailChimp for newsletter, right? All these different platforms pieced together, right? To duplicate that is crazy. Like, especially like not knowing what I know now with our done for you offer, with all the stuff we do, right? It's impossible. It's like landing, I don't know, a newborn baby on moon, based on how behind real estate industry is, right? I learned it the hard way, but it was a good lesson for me. Launching my team, I was like, okay, my team members just need a done for you system. Like if I'm hoping to actually be profitable with the team, I cannot go that route of teaching them this, right? I just need to hand them that. That became my value proposition of my team, and that's why I recruited, productive agents. But then when I started getting agents reaching out to me, one of the first challenge was that this is not duplicatable. Where meaning it is duplicatable, for the right person with the right experience, right skills, and right standards and accountability for implementation, right? And most agents sign up for courses they never log into, right? It's
Correct.
crazy how much, like that first year. So I launched my offer for, September of 2021. So at the end part of my first year as a team, and that first month I got 6 clients pay me $3,000 each to learn from me, right? None of them, like even till today, have implemented any of that.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So anyway, 2022 comes and I decide, you know what? I've been hearing about this high level thing. It's time. Like I need
Hmm.
an all-in-one platform that people can duplicate. It wasn't like revolutionary. High level is not something that is just all in one, right? That's
Correct.
the only difference, right? Meaning I was actually doing all of those things without high level, right? High level allowed me to be able to make my process duplicatable. It was
Same
easier.
here.
Yeah.
Same here. I often joke that I had 14 different software subscriptions that didn't play nicely together.
Yeah.
And I was spending so much of my week. My wife Lisa and I, we generated $1.2 million in GCI, but I was spending half of my time on technology.
Mhm.
And that's what I needed to do in order to achieve that. When I found high level, I thought, well, here it is. I can kiss 14 software subscriptions goodbye and have it all in one system. Then I realized, I could just create a snapshot and then provide this to one of my agents. Now I can provide it to another agent. Now I can
Mhm.
provide it to, and
Duplicate.
it was so scalable.
Yeah.
What you and I were talking about doing with 14 different software subscriptions and showing people, here's how you set up Calendly,
Yeah.
here's how you set up MailChimp. Forget it. And most real estate agents are phenomenal when they're knees to knees, toes to toes, talking with home buyers, home
Yeah.
sellers, or
Yeah.
sitting at kitchen tables.
Yeah.
That's when they're in their strength zone. You ask them to sit down in front of a computer and they're just like, oh, I can't figure this out. So that's where you and I come in and fill in a real needed gap, which is
Yeah.
let's help you solve your tech needs so that you can stay focused on doing what only you can do.
Yeah, I mean, agents can't even remember their login credentials in one platform. Forget about 7, right, or 14.
Yes,
Like, I mean, even for our done for you clients, when they initially come on board, right? Uh, One of the biggest struggle is getting their all of their social media username and passwords. Like, you'll be amazed to see like what we have to go through.
oh,
We
I've
usually
been
get
there.
that done in
Yeah.
our onboarding call, so it's like it's a huge gap in the marketplace. I don't know how we're gonna bridge that. I mean, I wish there was 100 of me. There is not enough competition on that space for sure. Okay,
I agree.
meaning like there could be like 100 or 1,000 times more offers like this that are effective though. There's so many of them that don't work. Like meaning they're not built on real systems. Someone just bought high level and trying to sell it to other people, right?
They
But if
cracked
it
the
is
code.
effective,
They joined the industry 2 years ago. They've cracked the code. It's like no, there's way more to this industry than can be learned in the last 24 months. You're right. There are a lot of people who are out there making offers. They sound interesting, but as you and I know, because you and I bought a lot of training,
yeah,
some stuff sounds really good, but they can't deliver the goods.
yeah,
Other stuff, it sounds like this is too good to be true, but it's true.
mhm,
And so it's really, you and I are sitting here together. We don't really compete.
yeah,
We offer a similar service, but
yeah,
we know that the best of us, we stand above and beyond everyone else. So there's no risk, there's no
yeah,
threat,
yeah.
there's no competition. It's just you have your audience, I have my
For
audience,
sure.
and really they need our help.
Yeah. It's kind of like being a real estate agent, right? Like me and you
Sure.
could be in the same market doing the same thing, offering the same services, but guess what? There is not enough good agents in the market, meaning there is not, yeah, there is enough licensed agents, right? But there is not enough good agents. It doesn't matter what market. There's not enough good agents, meaning if you are a good agent out there, and if you are able to actually position yourself in your marketing, if you are able to actually provide true value to attract clients and not just promote yourself to attract clients, and you have the systems in place and you know how to compound influence, right? What people are struggling with these days is just create influence. Forget about creating influence. We are in a whole different era right now. We need to be compounding influence with AI. It's just so much noise out there. If your influence, whatever you got, it could be small, could be 100 people in your database, right? If that influence is not compounding month over month as your license month over month, right? You're just lagging behind, right? And the gap in the marketplace is so big that someone could just go sign up for Russell Brunson's course and learn that, oh, this is how I want to make money, and uh finds go high level. That's usually what happens. All these marketing agencies out there that are just trying to sell leads to agents, have never built a real estate business themselves, right?
Correct.
Even
Correct.
if what I have found is that some of these marketing agencies claim that they're real estate agents, but they got their real estate license just so they can have the authority to sell you something, right? And there are some big names out there, right, that are real estate agents and that grew really big right now. But if you truly look into them, they have never sold houses. They actually became a real estate agent to build the authority, right? So it's like there is all these solutions or wannabe solutions out there that have never have practical implementation of the system they're selling themselves, right? And that is creating a big problem. Is a trust recession, right? Where it's like there is not enough people don't even have trust in, like they don't know what to even trust in the marketplace, and that's causing people to still stay behind, right? But I don't know what's going to bridge that gap. Either we are going to fight and bridge that gap, like me and you and everyone else that has the good intention and wants to actually improve the industry, or there will be like basically everything is going to merge together, right? That's what's happening right now in this market, right? Rio, Remax, Compass, Coldwell Banker, right? Anywhere real estate, like Bed Bath and Beyond is coming for real estate. Like hello,
Album. I know. I just read that yesterday.
And if you're not waking up now, I don't know when. That actually waking up was 5 years ago, and we should have been working on this 5 years ago. How I see, I agree with Ryan Sorhen. There will be like five names, five brokerages,
Mhm.
and everyone's working for them. Like if you are not taking control of that yourself, where you have a brand that separates you, you have the marketing system that builds trust at scale, right? And you have a conversion system that allows you to focus on servicing clients rather than chasing people, right? It's you're gonna have to either be like a Uber type of, like Uber driver type of real estate agent, which is basically what Zillow is doing to agents. Like if I had a tour request right now, I would have to go. I wouldn't be here.
Right.
I'll be like, Kevin, it was nice seeing you. It was a good conversation, but I think I have a tour at like 6 o'clock. I have to go. And that's like definition of what an Uber driver is, right? Like
Correct. They're
you
just
get
an
a
order
car, you have
taker.
to go pick them up. Uh,
Yes.
that's what's happening to the industry, right? And we just gotta get more serious about this, right? And people that we are helping, we also need to make sure everyone that comes into our academy, or doesn't matter if you're buying a $7 product for me, right? Or a $27 product for me, or a $47 product for me, or a $5,000 product for me, or $25,000 product for me. We make sure they're not chasing shiny objects. We make sure, like, hey, I know how to market, by the way. So whatever I say is gonna convince you, but do you really need that? Like, what is it that you're really trying to accomplish? Like, is it just deal for today, or is it like that how do I get people to come to me every day for the rest of my business, right? For the rest of my career.
Yes. It's so interesting. You talk about a brand. I remember very early in my career, I started my career in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was doing really, really well. This is back in 1999, 2000. I was recruited by a number of really great brokerages there in my local market area. They all wanted to see if I would join.
Yeah.
I actually had some really great clients at the time, and I said, hey, I'm with this company right now, but I'm being recruited by this other company. And I just wondered what your thoughts were about, if I were to make a change, how would that impact your opinion of me? And these were friends who were clients. So I was able to just get some really great feedback from them. And they said, Kevin, we think you're great. So therefore, we think your current company is great. And because we think you're great, any other company that is smart enough to grab you, we're going to think that they're great. However, our only interaction with your company is you. And so most real estate agents need to say to themselves, okay, my brand is behind the scenes supporting me,
Yeah.
but my brand to the marketplace is my knowledge, my skill, my ability, my integrity, my service orientation, my customer service focus. It's what I bring to that interaction with a home seller, with a home buyer, and with lenders and with title people. Your reputation, in
Yeah.
essence, becomes your brand.
For sure. I was just actually having a conversation with someone out of Texas, this agent that signed up for one of our introductory program. And usually we do an onboarding and we go through like, okay, what is the business challenge? And we create a roadmap for them on that onboarding call. And something that she told me was basically like I basically categorize agents in three categories: Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. Gen 1 agents are full traditional, right? Like meaning they haven't even touched digital marketing yet. Then you got the Gen 2 digital agents that are doing some digital marketing. Maybe they're buying Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads, meaning they have some online experience. Maybe they try to post generic real estate content online thinking it would get them clients, right? And then Gen 3 is like who does it properly, right? So what she told me was, I'm with Coldwell Banker now, and I'm actually planning to move because this brokerage is not giving me anything. So I'm deciding to move to Compass. And I'm like, wait a second, wait, isn't it the same company, right? Like now
Right.
it's the same company, right? They're like, no, but this Opus over there, they have a good brand in my area. I'm like, what do you mean by that? It's like, oh, people recognize them, and when I would tell them that I'm with that brokerage, it's more likely to give me clients because I'm trying to break into more higher paying clients. And I'm like, when she says that, the gap in understanding is just so big that you cannot, like, basically, if I said anything, it would be like me demeaning her, right? So for me, it's like when agents think that, especially like markets, like luxury markets, I have seen that a lot, like California, San Diego, Orange County, like when there is Sacramento, right? Like when there is a lot of competition, somehow these brokerages have brainwashed agents to think that it's us who basically like have captured this whole market. Like there's no way, without us you cannot do anything. Like we are so recognizable, and we have built so much trust. What agents need to understand, that people don't do businesses with businesses, they do businesses with people.
Correct.
We control the power in the marketplace. Like we are the people, right? We are people. We are not a
Hmm.
brand, we're not a logo, we're not a brick and mortar office. We are actually people who touch people, right? And people choose people, not businesses, right? Yeah, there could be some truth to, like, okay, this brand, this brokerage is well known in this area because they have been around for a while, they have a lot of influence, right? They have rubbed elbows with like influencers, politicians in the area, so they are well known. But it was only possible because of the people in that brokerage. Without that in the equation, that brokerage wouldn't ever be able to build that type of influence. So if people do business with people, right? And I am a people, and they choose not the brokerage, they choose people, right? And even for biggest names, brands you can think of, right? Nike didn't become Nike without Jordan. Uh,
Correct.
Apple didn't become Apple without Steve. Amazon didn't become Amazon without, Tesla didn't become Tesla without Elon. Like I could go on and on and on. Like
Correct.
it's not the brand they chose people, right? They chose the story behind the brand. They chose the human element. And if you are human, you're not alien, you have that power. You just have to harness that. You just have to learn that skill, right? To put yourself out there in a way that build trust at scale, right? That's what people are missing, right? If you go from Gen 1 having billboards everywhere, to Gen 2, right, being everywhere online, right, to Gen 3 building trust everywhere, right? That would be, that's what we need to accomplish.
Syed, we could talk for an hour. There is so much for us to go into. I want to give everyone an opportunity to connect with you directly. Where would be the best place to send somebody if they wanted to connect with you
Yeah,
right
for
off the
sure. I
bat?
mean, if they want to book a call with me, they go to bossagents.co. Okay, we couldn't buy the com; someone else has it, and we try to offer them. They didn't want to give it to us. But you can go to bossagents.co. But honestly, like I wouldn't recommend. Don't book a call with me, please. If you don't know what we do, so I would recommend learn what we do. So we actually do once a week webinar. These are live webinars, then a pre-recorded trainings where I actually break down this full methodology. Where how do you position yourself? to separate yourself from the competition. Doesn't matter if Caldwell Banker has captured the whole marketplace, you will get your fair share, right? How do you
Mhm.
get your fair share? How do you differentiate yourself and actually get people to come to you? Second, how do you build trust at scale? How do you become the obvious choice by providing true value in the marketplace and not just self promotion, right? No one likes that anymore. Internet has evolved. There's too many of that out there, right? Do something different, provide true value, right? And that's what we are doing here, right? That's exactly what me and you are doing here. You are hosting
Exactly.
this podcast because your intention is provide value, and I'm giving my time and talking about all this stuff because my intention is to provide value. So how do you
Absolutely.
become the obvious choice by providing true value? And then how do you have the back end system so that once you get that engagement and attention and likability, and when you drive that traffic to yourself, how do you convert that traffic into book calls and appointments into your calendar? That's what pays the bills, not views. And the Gen 2 problems are like people are chasing views, right? They're like, oh, I don't have that many followers. None of that is relevant. We have agents with like 300 followers on Instagram that are getting clients every single week, right? That's because they're building trust at scale, right? And then how do you take your existing database and have it compound every single month? How do you generate repeat business and referrals without having to chase, beg for people? And every time these people that you already have influence on, when they get on social media, when they get on any digital platforms, they would feel like you're everywhere, even though you're not everywhere. You're probably sleeping, or like me, sitting in my basement, right? People that are in my database, they don't go a day without seeing me. I know this for a fact. And not because I'm doing all this content and all this podcasts. I probably didn't do a podcast in a year. Thanks for having me, right?
My
Because
pleasure.
we've just been busy. But people that I have influence over, my influence over them just grows by the hour, right? It's because I have the right systems in place. So if you want to learn all that, bossagents.co/webinar. We do every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Today, actually, in an hour, we have our webinar. And I teach all of this. And if that makes sense to you and you want to have help implementing it faster, no problem. We can help you.
That's so powerful. So bossagents.co/webinar is a great place. We were talking earlier about your experience with doing some podcasts, and you have interviewed some of the biggest names in the industry, just sort of like you were recording the conversations that you were having, and those are available on YouTube, right?
Yes, for sure. So, I mean, it's a funny story. I mean, when I was in Russell Brunson's mastermind, right, 2CCX, and the one of the thing at the time, this is back in 2022, was like podcast, like all digital marketers out there was just like podcast. And I'm like, oh, I would love to have that because I was a no name back then, especially this is when I was launching my offer. And I'm like, okay, how do I do that? Okay, that text seems like complicated. Like I'm not super techy, by the way. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go do that, right? Like I know I just need to jump on a call like this and just have conversation, ask good questions, right? Like that's simple. I could do that, and I'm an action taker. Like you show me a path that is proven to work, and the person that is telling me that is proven to work has some credibility, I'm doing it by that night. Right? So I'm
Right.
like, okay, just gonna do it. And one of the first one was like, it was just the agent, she has a little bit of influence in our market, and I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about launching a podcast. What do you think? Like, we just go live on Instagram. And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll love that. And then we just went live on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, I gotta be a little bit more professional than that if I'm gonna establish this as something, right? Eventually later, right? I'm gonna figure out what I gotta do later, but first, I'm just gonna start, right? So I started looking at streaming platforms. I found StreamYard and signed up for it, and then I started reaching out to. I told my influence, I'm with EXP just like you, right? So I told my sponsor, Curtis Schuell. I don't know if you know Curtis Schuell,
Mhm.
top attractor in the, like, he's a pitch man. Like you want anything pitched, hire Curtis. But like I'm like, okay, give me the biggest names in the company, right? And this is when I joined EXP, by the way, April of 2022. And he was like, oh, that's easy. He just like there's like all these stack of papers. He's like super old school. He's like Gen 1. He's like Gen 0. He's not even Gen 1. He's like all these papers. I'm like, Kurt, just give me names. Text it to me, email it to me. He's like, no, here is like, he gave me 4 pages of influencers. Like, these are all the people that have, like, I think the number was like at the time, 400 people or more in their organization. I'm like, wow, this is gold. So
Yes.
I went ham, like, on that list. Like, I went reach out to everyone on that list, like email them, text them, Instagram DM them. And then I got like 300 of them to say yes, out of that list. And so we did over 300 episodes, just having conversations like this. And of course, by then I had AI on my side. So, we had AI generate, like, viral content questions, so it's great conversations. I mean, we had CEO of EXP, couldn't get Glenn yet, but we had Leo on podcast, Gogo Batki, you could, Veronica. I don't know. There are names that, it's been some time. It's been about a year and a half. I took a break from that because everything that's happening on this side of the business is just crazy. There's a lot of opportunity, but like, we are doing stuff that we're doing right now with our done for you offer. Yes, teaching agents how to implement what we do was great. But last 8-9 months, we took a pivot and we're like, you know what we are doing, it's not enough to bridge the gap in the marketplace. We got to accelerate that. So I hired a virtual team that are graphic design experts, funnel experts, automation experts, AI experts, the conversational voice AI experts. And we're just doing it for people to accelerate. We've seen the period it takes for an agent to shift from Gen 1 to Gen 2 to Gen 3 is about 3 to 6 months. I'm like, okay, how do we shrink that to a month? So now we build everything out for people for a month. So it's like, people that sign up for our done for you program, they're just like having everything built for them. Within a month, they can upgrade from a Gen 1 agent, everything traditional, to everything digital.
Syed, this has been such a great conversation. If people want to reach out directly to Syed, I highly recommend it. Go to bossagents.co. You can watch that webinar at bossagents.co/webinar. And you can check out his YouTube channel, youtube.com/@successbroker, where he has all
you
those
can go under
recordings.
live tab on my channel. All those podcast episodes are there. Yep.
Well, this has been great, Syed. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks so much for being on the Realty Funnels podcast.
Thank you.